Hi guys, welcome back. This is the lesson 5 of Unit 2 Polynomials. Okay, so today we'll be learning about how to factor a simple trinomial. So a simple trinomial is an expression that takes in the form x squared plus bx plus c. Okay, the c here is essentially any number. It could be 20, 30, or negative 10. Or any sort of number, any whole number. Okay. Bx, x is a variable, by the way. I'm going to establish x is a variable. X can be p, y, z, e. It doesn't really matter. It still takes in the form of x squared plus bx plus c. You can replace x by the variable. Okay, so bx is just a number in front of a variable like 20e, negative 10x, negative 10p, whatever. So it's just a variable with a coefficient in the power of 1. Okay, so the x squared is, in a simple trinomial, x squared is just a variable squared. So e squared, p squared, negative p squared, a variable squared with a coefficient of 1 or negative 1. Okay, so let's learn how to actually factor out the expression. Okay, so factoring out the expression means that we're finding two factors that when you multiply two factors together, you would get the original expression of this simple trinomial. So we can set up two brackets, x plus k and x plus h, where x is the variable as we established earlier, and k and h are the factors that I will talk about later. Okay, so we have x squared plus bx plus c. You can just, before doing anything, just set up two brackets like this. Okay, the k and h order doesn't matter. Okay, so now I'll talk about the k and h value. So the k and h values are essentially two numbers that multiply to c and add to b. Okay, so two numbers that multiply to the last term, the constant, and also add to the b term, or the coefficient before the x, or the variable. Okay, like in this case 20e, so 20 is the b. Okay, so yeah, so let's move on to an example. X squared plus 3x minus 10. So we see the c value is negative 10 and the b value is 3. Okay, so we're finding essentially two numbers that multiply to negative 10 and also add to 3, which are negative 2 and 5. Okay, so now we plug in to the form x plus h and x plus k. So x plus h, so x plus negative 2 equals x minus 2, and x plus k is x plus 5. Okay, so this will be your final answer. Alright, so let's do some examples together. X squared plus 3x minus 4. So c value is negative 4, so two numbers that multiply to negative 4, and two numbers that add to positive 3. Okay, so what are these two numbers? Well, this is more of like a trial and error thing. You can't really have a formula to figure out the two factors. You just have to trial and error. So it's going to be negative 1 and 4. So negative 1 and 4 here. So now we just set out the bracket, x plus h, x plus k, and that will turn into x minus 1, x plus 4. That'll be your final answer. Same thing here. Okay, two terms that multiply to the c value, which is 16. Two terms that add to the b value, which is negative 10. So this might take you a while. Sometimes with even larger numbers, it will take you a while, but it will get, with more practice, it will get to you pretty quickly. So in this case, it will be -8 and -2, because -8 times -2 is 16, and -8 plus -2 is -10. So same thing here, y plus h, y plus k. The x here can be any variable, as I said earlier. So that can give you y minus 8, y minus 2. Okay. On to our last example. Again, two numbers that multiply to the last term, which is -12, and two terms that add to the middle term, which is 1. In this case, the coefficient here is 1. Okay. So same thing, the two numbers would be -3, 4. So now again, set up two brackets, and then you just plug in the values. Boom. That'll be your answer. Okay. So I hope you guys understand this lesson, and I also posted some worksheets and some done even more examples on the website if you guys need. Okay. Thank you for listening.